Hello, welcome to the Roundtable by the New Times. My name is Edwin Musoni, and today I'm joined by Teddy Mazina, an activist, a photographer, who is also a Burundian, but has also traveled across the world. Welcome, Teddy.
Thank you.
Teddy, a day before we went into recording, that was on March 11th, two major events happened. Angola announced that there will be a direct contact between M23 and DRC government for talks. This is the first time it's going to happen in a very long time. At the same time, the South African president addressing the South African Parliament, His Excellency Cyril Ramaphosa, also said that the only solution to the conflict in the DRC is through talks from all warring parties, including the M23. Teddy, you recently went to Goma. First, why did you go to Goma? Two, what's the situation there?
Okay. Why me in Goma as a Burundian? Because my country, as a Burundian born, even if I don't live there anymore, for the moment, I mean, it's because our region, the history of our region, the common history that we all share, was centered in the Eastern Congo. I mean, what they call the genocide ideology have been traveling from a country to another, going through Burundi, Rwanda, and the Congo. And a few years ago, I mean, when this new conflict started, when the M23 took guns again, the general context was, especially on social media, in the news, was very violent. Incitement with a lot of hate speeches and incitement to violence. Many people have been killed, so it was about to go and try to understand how and how come this ideology which took place unfortunately in 1994 in Rwanda was rising again, why people were killed, why people were inciting intellectual people. Some people from what they call civil society, some friends of mine actually, started to spread hate speech, to say that, you know, calling for killings actually, and all this theory of migrations, Nilotic, Bantu, which are totally colonial fabrications, started to rise again. And among people who were supposed to be educated to understand. So the idea was to go to see this movement, which is called M23, which became ADF, AFC M23, and to go and to try to understand what was going on in the bush, especially because there was a boycott. The international media refused to go. If you try to count or to understand how many media went in the bush when those people were in Bunagana, Ruchuru, part of Masisi, how many media went? We have never seen France 24, we've never seen TV5, we've never seen RFI, we've never seen Al Jazeera going on the ground, giving the mic or trying to question those people who decided to take guns for what they call for their own survival. So the idea was to go.
Do they do it in other places where there's conflicts? Do they go to areas controlled by rebels?
In general, international media, so-called international media, is based in Uganda and Nairobi. The correspondent, international correspondent. In general, they do. I mean, it's like they like. Whenever there's problems, they have been there even before 2012. But for the 2-3 last year, there was a boycott. And we haven't seen any famous correspondent going and trying to ask General Makenga or Bisimwa or whoever else, what was the reasons they were taking guns. So that was one of the reasons, and I wanted to document it as a photographer. Being in the bush with these guys was very interesting because it's a history, it's common history. They can be good people, bad people, but we have to document it for the collective memory.
And why is that so? Why is the boycott?
We need to understand it's changed now. It came from a kind of refusal of going because the M23 and the way it is doesn't play like my movement. You know, they are not wild people who are killing for killing or who are smoking ganja or whatever. So they are serious guys who knows what they want in general. International media don't like that. They like what they call, there's a famous journalist who said it in Goma last time, say, I love what is sexy, what they call sexy news. They are not sexy, they are serious. So it is a problem because they have something to say and something to ask. They have an objective and it's serious people. It's not my these people that looks are very good for news, international media. This Africa, which is painted like it's a competition between monsters. Yeah.
So you went to the Eastern DRC. You went beyond Goma. How was the whole trip there?
I went before the fall of Goma, if we can call it a fall. Some call it a fall, some other liberation, some other whatever. Congo is a huge and very beautiful country. Me as a Burundian, as the way I look, if we talk about genocidal ideology, I was not allowed to go to Goma before. Because the way people can decide that, you know, the way you look, you will become a Rwandese or Tutsi or whatever. So in the liberated zone, what they call liberated zone, Kinshasa would say occupied zone or aggressed region. The M23 is a serious movement. It's very serious. So there is a kind of security. You have, especially in the Ruchuru, in the Masisi, it's very Rwandophone. You would find different communities, but everybody speaks Kinyarwanda, and whenever in parts that have been liberated by the M23, there is a kind of what we can call a security in a war zone. It's still a war zone. You never know if there's a drone which is going to drop a missile on your head, but there is security. And people are starting to understand. We have different categories of people. People who are welcoming the M23 as a liberation movement, as a revolutionary movement. You have people who want peace, and you have people who hate M23. Because all this Masisi zone, Ruchuru, all those areas have been occupied by the FDLR since for more than 20 years. So there is it has an impact of the way people think, or the way people behave today.
So Teddy, let's get to Rubaya. Rubaya has two faces. Some say it's a mining haven. Others say Rubaya is an ideology. You went all the way to Rubaya. There were reports that when M23 took over Rubaya, they constructed a road to transport minerals to Rwanda. What did you find in Rubaya? What do you make of Rubaya?
Rubaya is very interesting as a slogan. Rubaya is a slogan. It's not apart from the fact that there are minerals, that there's a culture of digging, trying to find your own, make your life, digging the soil. It's an artisanal mining place, that's first. But it's a slogan. It's a slogan which is based on the genocidal ideology. That's why I went there. The idea that Tutsis are foreigners, which was used in '94 here. The idea that Tutsi are invaded Rwanda, invaded Burundi, invaded the Congo, the idea that they have to be thrown back to where they came from, to Ethiopia or Egypt, is used with the Rubaya slogan. It's the idea that those refugees who took guns asking to go home, people who are from Masisi, Rubaya is in Masisi actually, and it's wonderful. Those people, all these, the fact that people are asking for their rights is white by the slogan of Rubaya, saying that Tutsis are invading the Congo only for money, only for coltan. So Rubaya is used like how do you bring the idea of money, the Tutsis invaders, foreigners, who don't have any other objective than stealing coltan, which means money. So Tutsis, Rwanda, the president of the Republic of Rwanda are only interested in money and mines. So Rubaya is a slogan. So the idea was to go, to understand if there's a kind of pipeline bringing coltan into Rwanda. The idea that they bring is that one. So there's two things. First, there's no any railway which can bring coltan from Rubaya to Petite Barrière in Goma, go through Rwanda, doing what they call now contamination of this coltan, which is supposed to be blood minerals, what they call blood minerals. So there's no road. There's no way to supply the world market of telephones. There's no way with this artisanal.
I wanted to ask you about
there's
DRC in their case against Apple. They brought up Rubaya.
No, it is a fantasy. It is a slogan. It is propaganda. First, second, yes, there is coltan in Rubaya. Yes, there's. I can say more than 100,000 people. Not everybody is working in mines, but people are digging, they are using, and they sell from one to another. Some are digging, some are cleaning, some are. They do the first for the raw minerals, you to clean it and then they sell it. It comes from Rubaya. It goes from what they call about Simba, who goes in the holes, and you have those cleaners, kuregeza, what they call kuregeza, clean, and then you have the others who are buying, and then it goes from one to another. And when you go into like a family, private backyard, people are cleaning. It's a way of life. Women, men. What the M23 have done is that they first. No military from the M23 is allowed to go there. No one goes. No uniform, no gun. That's first. I had a driver for my security, and he was not allowed to come with me to go to the mine.
Why is that so?
I think it's for two reasons. I think there's a philosophy that, in the mining zones, there's always money flowing, small or big money, I don't know. But it's to make a difference between the struggle itself, the liberation struggle, and business. So you have civilians who are cooperative, who takes care of their own business, and if they have a problem, they can still call the M23. But what I have to say is that Rubaya was occupied by Nyatura. There are pictures online where you see Nyatura in the mines. Rubaya was controlled by the Burundian army. The hill on the top of the big mine of this one I visited 2 or 3 ones, but the position of the Burundian army was there, and they were dealing with mines. So those are testimonies that I had with people. So they were pushed from there. They went to Mushaki, and Goma, and now you know the situation. Yeah. But what is interesting with Rubaya is first that it is artisanal. It can't supply the world market of telephone. This is a slogan. Second, there's no guns in Rubaya. There's no military in Rubaya, military presence. Third, everybody is Rwandophone. I mean, the city of Rubaya and the mining zone, which is huge as well, everybody speaks Kinyarwanda. I mean, there are some Congolese who comes from other regions who can speak other languages, but everybody speaks Kinyarwanda. So the idea of the invasion of the Rwandophone going to Rubaya and for making money or stealing the coltan from the Congo, first, Rubaya is all Rwandophone. Second, there's no guns. Third, there's no road. And I can challenge anyone. Maybe there's some coltan which is going from Rubaya through Mushaki and going to Goma, like it has been before. But it's not a business which can sustain the world market of telephone and whatever. And third, people need to check. When they say coltan have been went through Rwanda, it's interesting because they never say that, Rwanda took the coltan. There's a lot of coltan going through Rwanda, going to Mombasa, or going to Dar es Salaam, according to what they call a comptoir. They have customers abroad. It can go through Rwanda. And they never make the difference between what goes through Rwanda and what is taken by Rwanda. That's first. Second, it's still this accusation of the invader, liar, stealer, or aggressor. It's like how to fuel all this. And to avoid the question of the refugees who are Rwandophones, mainly Tutsis, but some Hutus as well, who are refugees since 20, more than 20 years.
Yeah, I don't want us to leave Rubaya before we get into the regional politics around Rubaya. There were reports that Kinshasa leadership, precisely President Tshisekedi, made some promises to regional leaders that he would give them mineral concessions if they gave him troops. Is that true? Have you encountered such
I don't know. I think for my side, what I think about the Burundian army itself, because I can talk about Burundi more than other countries. You have two kinds of armies in the sub-region. We have colonial armies, which were created after the colonization to protect the new presidents who were there. I call them armée bayonet, people who were there only to protect the president and the regimes. And you have revolutionary armies, which came from this culture, from Southern Africa, Mozambique, Tanzania, Uganda, what became the RPF, and the RPF became what we know, and today the M23. So you have this kind of armies. Some are made to protect the regime, some are made to protect the people. And the Burundian army is especially a mix of post-Arusha agreement, where they added to this colonial army, they added people who are coming from the Congo, actually coming from ex-refugees in Rwanda who took part, for some of them, in the genocide, and for genocide against Tutsis, fled to Congo, took the guns from the ex-FAR in Rwanda, and attacked Burundi. And this, it is a kind of, and been remobilized by Kabila. When he remobilized the FDLR, they saying that there was in it. They were in Puerto and everywhere, and this is public. So the Burundian army was motivated by two things. I think there's money promised, maybe mining promised, and ideology. So it was the same people coming back with what they have called on the internet the Alliance Bantu, like if Tutsis were not Bantu, everybody is Bantu actually. So there was this illusion, a mix of ideology and interest, business interest.
You will forgive me for concentrating so much on Rubaya because it has been a bit at the center of very many discussions. But this time, let's look at a wider picture. Rubaya is in Masisi. Masisi was where FDLR ever first established a very strong base. Draw us a picture of the FDLR in Masisi.
I'm not an expert. If I was a Muzungu, I would be an expert. But now that I'm black, I'm an artist. But anyway, I was joking with that. But actually, Masisi looks like a paradise. That's first. It's a real paradise. But if you want to buy land, you need a helicopter because there's no road to go there. It takes too long. It's too difficult to get there, but it's a paradise. I think when the FDLR got there, there was everything. 97 something, there was everything. Land, cows, milk, meat.
The first time you went there was in 1997?
No, not me. But I mean the FDLR as occupying the zone.
Yes,
so they went, they established them there. For what I heard, for the few interviews I've done, they were violent, so that's what make the vague of refugees who came and stay here, Uganda and some in Burundi, but for Burundi it's more than from the south. And they established themselves there. They made an economy there, but not only Masisi, but everywhere, even in the Virunga Park and etc. So they were making their business, sometimes taking cows, making people pay per each for one cow. In some zones, you had like it's from $1.5 to $3 per cow per month. So they understood that if they kill all the cows, the economy will die. So if the FDLR were making people pay, negotiating with the cooperatives of people, and they were been making people pay for when they were harvesting. You pay for per hectare. You would pay an amount of money, but the FDLR was there like home. For like a place like Buiza, I was talking to the community leader. He was explaining a bit that they were doing meetings between him, chief of police, and chief FRDC and chief FDLR. And FDLR was the one to decide to make the last decision, though. So they were established there. It was their home. Like villages, like cities like Tongo was created from scratch by FDLR.
So FDLR was the one to make the final decision in those meetings that were also attended by the top officials and FARDC officers. Is that right?
Sometimes, no, I won't say that it's everywhere, but they were enough powerful to make the rules. To make the rules, they were more powerful than FARDC.
Is that how they ended up being integrated in the FARDC? Because of how powerful and established they were? So
I think they have been remobilized. When you see from the 3 last years, there's a hold-up, ideologically hold-up of the mind of the Congolese government. So the FDLR did in French I call it a hold-up mental, that they don't even need to communicate. Patrick Mouyaya does it for them. When Patrick Mouyaya talks about 10 times, 100 times poison Rwandais, accusing a whole country, a whole community, like being poisoners. When he goes on RFI, he goes on France 24, he goes on TV5 saying poison Rwandais and nobody reacts. Nobody considers that this is he should be sued for that because he insults us, our kids, our parents, and whoever looks like a Rwandese become a poisoner. How can a government do that? So, to come back to the FDLR, it didn't only been integrated in this coalition which was fighting against M23 and Rwanda. It took the mindset of the government itself. And the problem is what is very how the FDLR killed the international community in the Congo. The FDLR killed the MONUSCO. I mean, accepting this kind of ideology and the way that the MONUSCO never stood up against the hate speech which was coming from the genocidal ideology. How MONUSCO kept silent until it was the FRDC was knocked out in the capital, the capital de l'Afrique de l'Est, Goma. Until they went there, they haven't noticed that they kept silent when people were being killed, cannibalized in town, in front of the peacekeeping mission. It brought the M23 to come take guns and come and take over. And the MONUSCO and the international community died because it was belonging to this coalition. And in this coalition there were FDLR, there was MONUSCO, there was FRDC, there was SADC, there was all these people. But the FDLR killed all of them. Because today, as you know, they are still prisoners of war in the airport of Goma and in Mobile. And to come back to Ramaphosa, the question is not negotiation. The question is how they will bring back their boys, because they are locked in the airport.
Not just him, the entire SADC and even MONUSCO. But before we get to that, among the stages of a genocide to get to a level of realization, there includes dehumanization. Poison Rwandais falls under that, branding Rwandans as poisoners, taking away that human part of all Rwandans and Kinyarwanda speaking people, who are many in the region, not just in Rwanda. You've been to Congo several times. How deep and widespread is this genocidal ideology?
You can't, what I told you, you have three categories of people. You have people who want to being liberated by the M23. You have people who want peace, don't care. And you have people who hate Rwandans, Tutsis, etc. So I don't know how deep, but the only way to stop it is to be powerful. I would say if, for the 2 last years, if Rwanda was not powerful enough, militarily, I mean, there would have been another genocide here. So the genocidal ideology and the hate speech was so high that if Rwanda was not able to defend itself, they would have invaded and do the same.
That exactly speaks to the fact that FDLR is not just about the numbers, it's about the ideology and how dangerous it can turn. Is that right?
Yeah, I told you that they have held up the mind of the government of Congo, I mean the Tshisekedi government. And you have a silence of the MONUSCO, I mean the UN, and you have a silence of the international community. They know what is going on. And when Tshisekedi say, I'm gonna, I can shoot whoever I want in Kigali, I will call for war and etc. That's FDLR. So you have what they call these remaining small groups of FDLR, but you have the ideology. And you have silence of what they call civil society. Some friends of mine who are silent. They have been silent when people have been was lynched every week. Someone lynched in Goma, in everywhere. You will never hear this civil society talking about it.
Why is that so? Why is this? I would understand the rest, but why is the civil society quiet about this?
It's very hard to explain, but some people are complicit. Some people, some civil society from, I can say it, from Goma, especially the capital of Eastern Congo, were like against Kigali than being against Kinshasa. They were looking at Kigali instead of looking at their own president. So people were spreading like this idea of the foreigner invader, stealer of minds was created. Even if you can even remember what even the Nobel Prize was saying, or some other people calling for closing the borders. When you can imagine that a Nobel Prize call for closing the borders, it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, but on the other side, the other civil society never complained about how the government was behaving and how the hate speech was spread by some members of the government. Yes. When you see some people like Bitakwira calling people snakes, now ended up in the government, in the parliament, yeah. We have a problem. So this is the FDLR threat, because the FDLR doesn't need any spokesperson anymore. They're all over. So it's the ideology which is the danger, and the troops who were promised to invade Rwanda after finishing with M23.
Okay, now that you have talking about invading Rwanda, you went to Goma and you were at the airport. How is it there? What did you see? What did you find? What's the state of the airport?
The airport is interesting because it was the scene of defeat, first. Second, they did shoot the shared Rwanda when it was falling. They tried to share Rwanda and they destroyed, like they killed people. Third, it was used as a slogan again by Bintou Keita, as not opening the airport was provoking a humanitarian crisis. First, the expected humanitarian crisis never happened in Goma. You had people in Kanyaruchinya, you had people in Mugunga, you had another big camp. They were expecting that those people were used like a human shield to avoid against the M23 coming into Goma. But the M23 managed to cross the camps without shooting against people. And then they attacked Goma, and people went back home. There was no humanitarian crisis as expected by some people. Second, Bintou Keita was saying that you have to open the airport because we need to use it. People are dying because you closed the airport. The tower control was destroyed, totally destroyed. And you still have like bombs, like some explosives all over. Third, you have prisoners, prisoners of war. 3 armies locked inside: Tanzania, Malawi, and South Africa.
Those that were with the Sami DRC.
Yes, they are inside. They're surrounded. I mean, they're not allowed to have guns, but they're there. M23 let them get like accommodation or whatever, water, food, and etc. But they are waiting for their governments to find a solution for them to leave.
Where are their guns?
Locked. Okay. They're locked, yeah. They are not allowed to have guns.
Okay.
Yes, they're surrounded. It's official. So there's a big hypocrisy, to come back to Ramaphosa and all those. They let the boys there. They did fight, and they lost. They raised the white flag. So they are locked there, and nobody talks about it. Even when I went there, I was going to see how the airport was. I didn't know that they were inside. But you have them, and you have some other in Mobambiro. So that's the first negotiation which has to take place. I mean, it's when they say now Tshisekedi decided to talk to M23. No. I mean, Sadek has to talk to M23 to find a solution for those people to go back home. And because they lost, I'm not sure that they will leave all the guns for the M23. So you have all this confusion and what I can call hypocrisy. People don't say the reality of what is going on. Yeah, but there's 6 entities. I mean, Malawi, Tanzania, South Africa, FDLR, MONUSCO, FRDC lost against the M23. So now you come back and you say you have to negotiate. So you see, nobody talks about it, but the reality is that one. Yeah. They lost, they surrendered, and they are trying to find a way to go home without being humiliated.
Yeah. So at Goma Airport, is that where the Joint Command Center was?
Yes. Yes, you had.
Take us through that command.
You have this airport, but you have this office, MONUSCO and the Joint Command Center, the CCCO, I think it's Coordination Conjointe de Commandement Opérationnel of M23, of MONUSCO. But it's where the operations were planned. It's where meetings were held. It's where MONUSCO, FRDC, and the mercenaries, because we found documents where people signing their presence. You see names of mercenaries with Al Jazeera, people from Al Jazeera. So it looks like a cemetery of the international community. To see that they were meeting there, I don't have any proof that the FDLR was involved, but in a way or another, it was belonging to the coalition. But when you imagine that MONUSCO, the FRDC, the Wazalendo, the mercenaries, the SADC were meeting in the same rooms, because we have proofs of that. They left everything. We had maps all over with where is FDLR was in the country, where the Mai Mai were. They left everything there. But for me, it's the death of this international community and this humanitarian business. But to come back to Goma, what you see when you are in Goma is how everything is. Everywhere you look, there's an NGO. It's the Capitale Mondiale de l'Humanitaire, as people say sometimes. So, but I think the MONUSCO died in the airport. Now they are waiting for leaving, sooner or later. They still have some troops in their compounds. But the MONUSCO as a concept died in that airport. Yeah. Sharing on Rwanda. So it's a very interesting as a moment, historical moment, yeah.
And there was a shooting on Rwanda.
Yes, from the airport and from the Mongoma.
Yes, yeah. And then Rwanda ended up getting sanctioned. Does that speak to what you call the death of the international community?
It's very hard to explain why. But there has been a lot of lobbying against for sanctions. These people who are behind what they call UN experts, have been trying for years to come back to sanctions. They are nostalgic of, they call it the call of Obama to President Kagame in 2012 or, they have been calling for sanctions every time. They don't care about the refugees. They don't care about the hate speech. They don't care about the evolution, the security of the people. But the idea is to sanction. But you can link it. That's the dream of the FDLR as well. That's their dream. That's the dream of all those people who anti-Tutsi, because Rwanda symbolizes the Tutsi réussite. So there's two explanations. Rwanda is stealing minerals. The development on Rwanda is not real. It's not that people are serious trying to make a common project and develop their country. It's just because there are minerals in the Congo. So you have all these mix, and it ended up condemning Rwanda, was sanctioning whoever. But they have never expected that M23 would take over Goma. It was the last resort for them. What can we do now? We lost everything. So let's sanction this person, and let's stop our cooperation. But everybody can stop what he wants today. I think it's too late And people are not anymore scared of any kind of sanctions. They prefer to live than being helped.
You spoke about M23 defeating a number of entities, different countries, all fighting against M23. Then you also said that Western media is not interested in covering the M23 because it's very organized and they would prefer something unorganized, which they call sexy. How strong and organized is M23? You've met them, you've interacted with them, you've seen them.
I would take it on the other way. I think the Kinshasa and the MONUSCO itself and many analysts underestimated what was this movement. It's made by people who were fighters for all their life. And some started in the RPF when they were during the liberation struggle of Rwanda, and they were very young, like General Makenga and the others. And you have the generation of the commanders have been fighting started to fight early, and they know the land because most of them comes from there. And the new generation of fighters, the special forces, these young guys of 18, 20 plus, coming from the camps, and some of them come from from Churu, and they are not only Tutsi. When they say Tutsi-led movement, it's maybe they're led by some Tutsis, but you have a lot of people coming from everywhere. When you look at the leadership, even in the army, the people come from everywhere. So they are strong, young, they know the land, and they know that if they don't fight, they will all die. It's a last resort, and they know that they cannot withdraw or go back. So the underestimation, the bad analysis which have been made by international media, trying to depict them either like a Mai Mai movement, which they are not. They are a movement, a political and military movement. And on the other side, when they found out that these people were strong, they had to find an answer. So how they did impose M23 backed by Rwanda. It was imposed in the media. It's a narrative which was imposed, like their rights. Like these people were not able to fight for their rights without Rwanda. It's mystifying the idea of the Tutsi who is, trying to take control of the region instead of looking at the root cause of this conflict. Yeah. But M23 exists by itself. It can be Rwanda should support M23 because you cannot kill people for what they are next door, and Rwanda sit and watch. This was the job of MONUSCO to protect people. Now M23 is doing the job of MONUSCO, catching FDLR, bringing them back to Rwanda.
So, I wanted to actually ask you about that. Part of it, ideally, when the entire UN mission was being sent to Congo from the start, and MONUC, the idea was to uproot FDLR. M23 is uprooting FDLR and sending them to Rwanda. What is the status of MONUC that is in the space occupied by AFC M23, and AFC M23 are doing the job that was ideally supposed to be the job of MONUSCO?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do you make of that?
General Makenga stole the job of Bintou Keita. But he doesn't have billions like she does. She had more than $1 billion, $2 billion per year. But the M23 stole the job of the MONUSCO. All the land where they are is pacified. While MONUSCO was there watching and dancing in the nightclubs with mercenaries. That's a reality. That's a reality, and it's an international hypocrisy. hypocrisy. We all thought that there were like 6 or 7 mercenaries in Goma. But when you see a company, a battalion of Muzungus with tattoos, people who came to kill black people in our region, on the border of Rwanda, people who are paid to come and kill black people, that's what it is. And the M23 took over, tried to fight, is fighting the FDLR, fighting all these my groups, who are, some of them are, accused of violating human rights. Guidon Chimera, Janvier Karahidi, all those people, they are on record. They know. And the experts come, they will do a report, and they will do a report talking about vaguely about all those people, and end by asking for sanctions. It's hypocrisy. So General Makeba stole the job of Bintou Keïta. And now they are jobless.
Interesting.
They are jobless in Goma because they came to support the FRDC. There's no more FRDC in Goma. So the MONUSCO is there sitting. So they have some refugees in their compound. We don't know who is inside. Maybe some. They talk about some generals, some Burundian FRDC plus maybe FDLR in the compound. So they don't know how to get out. Even the MONUSCO doesn't know how to get out of this complex issue today. So
how are they going to feed those
I don't know.
refugees?
The negotiation should go there. M23 they took their rights. Well, what do you want to negotiate about now? Can you imagine if the M23 refused to negotiate with Tshisekedi? He's been refusing for 3 years. But now the negotiation should be who is inside the MONUSCO compound? How is SADC taking back its boys home? Without humiliation, they are brothers.
Yeah.
But they have been defeated.
So the negotiation should be about the decent exit of...
What are you going to talk about now when you still have people inside, more than 1,000 people inside the MONUSCO? And when you have more than 1,200 in the airport and some people in Mubambiro, what do you want to negotiate about before you talk about this issue?
But you also believe that the only solution to this problem has to be through talks?
Yes. There has to be talks. I'm not sure that Tshisekedi is able to promise something now that he have lost. For example, I'll show you. They killed Makanika in Murenge with a drone which maybe cost $5 million or more. When you killing that man who was in his mountain protecting his cows and his family, because they don't have any, the Banyamulenge say no, we just need to leave. It's a proof that there's a project of eliminating a whole community. So how two weeks later you come and say, I want to talk to you? While you bombing, they've been bombing there 2 days ago. Bombing people who are living in their mountains, just asking for their rights. So I think there have to be talks first to sort out, to recognize that these people have rights. Now there's a kind of government in Goma. In Bukavu, there's an administration, it works, there's police. So they have to think about the new project of the Congo itself. It's not about the M23. It's about the new project of the Congo. But I don't see these people going back to Sangini or going in Mangabo to and put the guns down. They are home, and they are home to stay.
So that means, one of the approaches would start with a ceasefire that comes with guarantees. And then what would happen next? Reintegrate them, establish a broadband government, or is something we have to leave to the mediators to...
Yeah, I'm not a specialist of... but yeah, they have to stop Kinshasa have to stop attacking people.
Let's talk about the role of Burundi in all this. Burundi was first with the East African force. Then when the East African force was kicked out unceremoniously by President Tshisekedi, Burundi was given a different status. And Burundi has now been fighting alongside FARDC, FDLR, the mercenaries, and all that cocktail there. The situation there poses a security threat on Rwanda. Where does that place Burundi? Considering that there were reports of the Burundian National Army having some kind of an arrangement with the Nyaturas and others.
The Burundian army, as I told you, comes from a colonial army, which was created by Belgium. I mean, the first officers and blah, 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 meant to protect the regime, plus the same lady, what they call the FDD, who were created in the Congo, and next to the FDLR. And then we had this Arusha, and they had this mix. So part of the Burundian army is the old one, and the other one is from the FDD, which was created in the Congo next to, they were in Puerto with, when Kabila remobilized the FDLR. At the time was Alir or something.
Alir.
Burundians were with them, and they joined Arusha, and then they ended up in the army. Seeing those people coming back to the Congo, joining the same fight they were in before, with some of the former military, or those people who are from the former colonial army, who are obeying orders. They don't think that it's often say they are ideologically bankrupt, or a friend of mine says that. So they just go because the president say go, but they don't think about the consequences or the ideology behind. But it was a kind of joining a project of throwing out Tutsis from the Congo. That's a project. When they say M23 will bring them where they came from, it means they don't have the right to be on their land. So the second is money. I think there was a kind of motivation, financial motivation, with cash or with a future project of mining or whatever. Yeah. But it's a bankruptcy of in ideology. It looks like they don't know where they are going. Yeah. But even the fight in Uvira will be centered of the idea that they are invaded by a foreigner, Tutsis again, and blah blah blah. While people are fighting for their own land.
So is that why the AFC M23 has been avoiding Uvira?
No, they are not avoiding. They will take it.
They will take it.
They will take it. It takes time. Yeah. They will take it.
Interesting. So what's the current situation on the battlefield or in Congo within the M23 ranks? I believe as a journalist, when you interact with them, you get contacts and then you can...
There will be some problems. I think Kinshasa will put enough money to make some insurgency inside the liberated zones. So Kinshasa will behave like a gorilla now. They will recruit some, maybe FDLR, some Mai Mai to come and make trouble, but it won't take long. It won't take long, but there will be some few violence in the liberated zones, what they call liberated zones, but it will end. And it will be better for Kinshasa to negotiate, but they went too far. They went too far. When Muyaya is insulting and lying, people are being killed every day. They go from 3,000 to 7,000 people killed. They go from this to that. when they use propaganda and money to spread lies, I don't know how they will manage to negotiate with M23.
You've been to Congo so many times. Is it true that there's too much belief in the power of witchcraft?
I don't know.
I've seen the head of state interacting with some...
It is tradition. It's tradition, but the Mai tradition of this and that is an illusion. It's an illusion, yeah. It's an illusion, yeah. It's like a religion. People go to church, they ask for this or that. People who believe it, but it can be funny if it is a tradition, if it's a folklore. But if you want to use it for violence or killing other people, it's a problem. Yeah.
The reason I'm asking that is because at some point it has been coming up on using some kind of witchcraft in addressing this issue. Some of the conversations coming from Kinshasa.
It is exactly what the Western journalists call sexy.
They want that kind of
That's what they
drama.
want. That's what they want to see. They want to see people dancing naked, praying before they go to fight. And this is not a fake news. It have existed. Seeing people going to the battlefield naked because they think that they are protected.
Do you see a stable Eastern DRC in the near future or any time in future?
Some places are already stable. They are already. They will be depicted like a chaos, but without being a fan. For what I've seen, I've been in Ruchuru several times, and I spent days without hearing one shotgun, while the Goma was not liberated. So it can be stabilized very quickly if the international community wants. But the fueling the conflict by the speeches of Mouyaya, I'm not obsessed by him, but it's on record. The fact that you still have more than 1,000 military from FRDC in the MONUSCO compound, keeping them there is like to in French I would say entretenir la guerre. They should very quickly find a solution to get those people out. They will not be killed. Those who want to join them, Tshisekedi will do. Those who want to quit the army, they can. But the United Nations cannot keep an hostile force inside Goma while Goma is under control of M23. So it's like fueling the conflict. While you are peacekeepers, it's totally surrealist.
You cannot talk about genocide ideology without talking about the case of Nuro and how a genocide ideology manifests in front of the cameras. What happened in Nuro? What is Nuro? Why does it keep coming up?
Nuro is very interesting. It's sad, but it's very interesting as to understand how genocidal ideology materializes. So it's not an illusion. It's not that Rwanda is crying, using the genocide as a business, blah, blah, blah. No. Nuro is a small city of like 300 plus small houses. Very beautiful place. It's in Masisi. It looks like a paradise, actually. You head in Nuro, it's considered like majority Tutsi. But they said it themselves. But it was surrounded by Nyatura, which is the Congolese FDLR, which was formed by the FDLR itself. There were FDLR, they were all around them trying to attack this small village. And the hill on the top of this small village was occupied by AIC troops from Burundi. They ended up No, first, there were small attacks. People were trying to flee, joining the position of the Burundian who are right at the hill. We have testimonies that Burundian refused. We have testimonies that they told them, I have interviews, go join your brothers who took guns, which means go join your Tutsi brothers. I had an interview with a wife who did fight, trying to get into the hand of the Burundian because she didn't want to die because the Nyatura were coming to them. So at the end, the Burundian position didn't help at all. They used fuel and pumps. These pumps they used for desinsectiser cows or they put on all the houses and they burned the 300 houses in Nuro. It was like...
You saw that?
There is video. We had the video on WhatsApp. I went back to where the guy took the video to see if I had the same angle, and I went into the village and I have interviews of these people. It's how genocidal ideology materialized, but it was ethnic cleansing. It means you leave and we burn your houses and you will never come back. What is interesting in Nuro is that it's majority Tutsi, but there are some Hutus there. And some people, among them, I did interviews with everyone, refused to go to Nyatura. They said we grew up together, our brothers, we grew up with our friends Tutsis, we're going to die together. We refuse your ideology. This guy was talking about politics everywhere. So these guys who said, no, my friend is Kamanzi, and I refuse to join Nyatura to kill my brothers. So it's interesting how an ideology can materialize in this kind of ethnic cleansing and being as well refused. You have some local heroes people are still living together. And now they are all under protection of M23 in this peace. Nothing is going on. Life have come, they are rebuilding their houses, but 300 houses have been burned. Some didn't build yet, but they're building.
No international report has been written about that.
They don't care. They don't care. They need dead bodies. They need Red Cross burying our bodies. They need sexy news. When they don't see black people killing each other or dancing naked, witchcraft, as we've been saying, it's not interesting. We are all monsters. We are not serious. We cannot build. We don't have any project. So they will want to depict the M23 like a small Mai Mai movement, but you can't compare it with those Mai Mais. These guys are serious. These guys went to school. These guys are coming from all over the world. Serious people who took guns to change the Congo, to change their lives, the richest country in the world.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Thank you very much, Teddy. If there's anything more that you would want to educate our audience about the situation in that place and how best and peaceful it can be solved, please.
No, I can't. I'm not a teacher. No.
But you can share insights.
What is important is that, as I said before, what happened in Goma is historical. It's historical because you have several armies, many entities who lost the war. SADC itself, the MONUSCO, as I told you, died in the airport, symboliquement. I think people should look back and try to understand. And it's interesting because you had the 700,000 displaced people in Goma, and the humanitarian catastrophe didn't happen. So I think people who are experts of military tactics or whatever, strategies, should go back and try to understand what happened, because what happened is very important. It's not over yet. So over, you had the mercenaries, battalion of mercenaries coming from all over. You had SADC, you had MONUSCO, you had all those people against one group, and they lost. They are lost. What died was the hypocrisy. Now all the journalists are rushing to Goma to try to count the bodies, while they didn't go to ask them in the bush why they were fighting. And the majority of those rates of the bodies, the 3,000 bodies, etc., they talked about, the majority are people from FRDC and Wazalendo who died in town, maybe some M23 as well. But they have to stop the hypocrisy. They have to stop it. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. I like to end my interviews with a little of a light or funny or an easy question. Before the arrival of white missionaries, actually when the white missionaries arrived in Africa, they told us that the holy ones, when they die, they go to heaven. Those unholy ones, when they die, they go to hell. Where were our people going before the white missionaries came? When they died, where would they go? You don't have to answer that. But it's been on my mind.
I will try to know when I get there.
All right, thank you very much, Teddy Mazina. This was very insightful. We hope we will have you another time. And to our viewers, stay tuned on the New Times. Subscribe on our YouTube channel. Thank you very much.